Jonah Angell, and I was not a senior until a couple weeks ago when I got accepted to Utah State after having received my ACT score and applying. And so I was not expecting to be up here until probably mid-March. Since my sophomore year, I've been attending DVC St. Ramon for all my classes, and it's been able to help me to progress through my academics quicker than a normal high school student would be able to, and that's also benefited me and helped me to graduate early. But this journey has not been without its difficult parts. In fact, sometimes it was like climbing a mountain, which reminds me of an experience that I had a couple years ago when I climbed Mount Shasta. It was in the summer of 2017 when I attended a week-long high-adventure camp with about 100 other young men from my church, plus a handful of adult leaders. The first 2 days of the camp were dedicated to climbing Shasta, and the remainder was spent doing fun outdoor activities such as rock climbing and cave exploring. We thought that we were prepared for the amazing feat we were given, and even though we were apprehensive about climbing a freezing cold mountain, we expected to have a good time. Our plan seemed well formulated. In the weeks leading up to the trip, we had scheduled a number of practice hikes preparing us for Shasta. We had chosen to meet the morning of the trip, and everyone was expected to be there prepared with all the necessary equipment, such as warm clothing, sleeping bags, and food if necessary. The main meals were taken care of by the adults. Each driver was given direct driving instructions to the mountain, and upon reaching the mountain, we would secure our extra gear such as ice picks and the other tools to put on our shoes so that we wouldn't fall off the mountain. The plan was to begin the ascent at noon. After a long climb, we planned to reach Lake Helen, our camp for the night, by 6 p.m., where we would pitch our tents, eat a meal, and be in bed by 8. If everything had gone according to plan, we would have reached the peak just before sunrise the following morning after waking up very early. The beautiful sight alone would have made this trip one of the greatest days of our lives. But you can probably tell by now that the trip did not go to plan. Here's what actually happened. The difficulty began even before we began our trip, when we missed all of our practice hikes due to rain and other difficulties like the mountains were closed. And we thought nothing of it because we were sure we would be fine. We'd done difficult things before, we'd done some hikes. It wasn't until the day of that things began going very wrong. We had difficulty meeting up that morning, and so our drive to Shasta, which was about 7 hours long, began a lot later than we planned. When we reached Shasta, we knew that we were in for some trouble. Our gear had been split between 2 locations, giving us a headache having to organize everything and get everyone to have the right size boots, etc. It took over an hour to get everyone's gear together, and then even longer for everyone to find the parking lot where we were scheduled to meet at the base of the mountain. At this point, we had already been delayed some time, and we didn't begin our hike until 4 p.m., 4 hours later than expected. The hike took forever. We stopped a number of times because we hadn't prepared ourselves fully, and we needed to hydrate ourselves frequently. Every step was more grueling than the last. Much of the snow we were plowing through had turned to slush, and we slid backwards with each step. After many hours, we all managed to reach Lake Helen that night, although many of us did not arrive until well past 11 o'clock p.m. We pitched our tents in the dark and immediately went to bed. After a very restless night, suffice it to say, we did not wake up at 2 a.m. and continue the hike. We all gathered for a devotional and a quick meal. A few kids wanted to continue the ascent, so an adult leader went with them. Most of those kids ended up turning back after a couple hours. Only 3 or 4 people ended up reaching the summit, and they still describe that as being one of the hardest things they've ever done. To our great relief, our leaders, who were just as tired as we were, told us that if we took our waterproof linings out of our backpacks, then we could put the waterproof lining on the ground and use that as a sled to get down the mountain. We all felt like we'd won the lottery and began to slide down the mountain. Thankfully, nobody was injured beyond minor sunburns, and we were all able to move on and enjoy the rest of the week. Whenever I think of this experience, though, I realize just how helpful it was for me, even though I'd like to call it the worst week of my life. I embarked on this journey between my freshman and sophomore years of high school, and just before I started taking classes at the Doing community college classes has been a great experience for me, since it helped me to complete more classes in a shorter amount of time and graduate high school a year early. But that is not to say that it has not been without its own difficulties. Some of my classes have been very hard. In particular, the hardest class I've taken at the community college has been chemistry, which I take my final tomorrow. I tried to take this class during my first semester at DVC, but was forced to withdraw due to my unpreparedness. So I waited a year and have been taking it again this past semester. In the year between my first and second times taking the class, it did not become any easier for me. It has still been incredibly difficult, and I have needed to do a lot of studying, and I've needed to get in touch with the other students in my class and do study groups, which I hadn't ever done for any other class. But because I learned to keep going from my experience on Shasta, even though the difficulties will always be there, I have been able to make it through the semester. Endurance is the key. As we move on in our lives and further our education, we should all keep this in mind. Don't give up. The road may be rough, but the end result will be worth it.